Science fair projects. Hot air balloons. What do these have in common?
Let's see where this goes.
Welcome to All Things Havasu with Chris Rydell and Lonnie Stevenson. It's everything you'd expect from these guys. Plus some serious interviews about Lake Havasu City. Now, All Things Havasu.
Hello, listeners.
Mr. Radio Voice there. Hello, yes, and it's the DJ with the mostest and the bestest and the westest.
That was pretty good.
God.
I'm Chris Rydell.
And I'm Lonnie Stevenson. And this is Everything Havasu.
You don't even know the name of our podcast.
All Things Havasu.
All Things Havasu. Dude, really? Really?
Okay, take two.
Well, we are here with you on this fine day. We won't say what time of day it is,
but it's a beautiful day.
But it's a beautiful day. We'll let you in on that. We have a nice, fun podcast for you today. We have as our special guest Mr. Dean Baker with Lake Havasu City Properties and Lake Havasu Hot Air Balloons. There'll be some fun conversation with him, I'm sure.
And a story or two.
What else do we want to talk about before he comes on?
You know, you want to do Olympics or you want to do... Oh, my God. My son, school science fair project. Why do they even assign these damn things?
You know, I haven't had to do one of those with my... Well, let's face it. Do you do them or do your kids do them?
I stayed out of it. Now, my wife has rolled her sleeves up begrudgingly and has helped. For the most part, he's done quite a bit of it himself. But these things are just out of control.
Well, you know, your kid's not going to win because the ones that win are the ones that the parents actually do. So
I will say this, and we'll probably be in trouble. I was blown away. They were working on an assignment a month or so ago, and he was working on the assignment, and one of the things that they did in class was PowerPoint. I love PowerPoint. I do a lot of my stuff in business life with PowerPoint. Well, my 9-year-old son is now getting somewhat proficient in PowerPoint. So as we're putting his science project together and his display pages and stuff, let's use PowerPoint. And he knows how to do it himself. I just showed him how to maybe make the fonts a little bit more artsy and stuff. And I just showed him on one page, and he went and he ran with it and put together some really, really cool slides that are now posted and on his science fair project.
So what you're saying is when my son gets to this age, doing the little volcano with the bubbling over with the baking soda.
That's actually in the instructions that you can't do that.
What about the solar system with the little balls that go around and can we do that still or?
I think he did that in first grade.
Oh man, times are changing.
But yeah, science fair projects are just. And there was a funny little. They have these special boards that you can go to, like Walmart or Staples or whatever, and buy and. For your displays, and of course they got you there because that's what $10 or $15 to get those things, and they have instructions on kind of how to lay it out in this. Well, there was a funny picture on Facebook about where someone had put together a mock science fair project that had to do about percentage of or a graph that showed time to when project is due and the stress level raising, and the parents do most of the work and all the kids do is cry and throw fits.
The whole thing was basically why there shouldn't be a science fair.
Yeah.
I wonder what grade that kid got.
I don't know. Maybe his parents put it together for him.
Definitely.
And then they schedule the science fair on a night we have baseball practice. I mean, geez, what the heck are these people thinking? I have Little League practice that night. I can't be bothered with a science fair.
Did you get them both done?
The science fair, we delivered it to his classroom today. Yes.
Well, that's just fantastic. I'm glad you got it. We'll have to see what kind of grade he got.
I feel better now that I've vented about that.
Did you feel better you got that off your chest?
I can cancel my my psychiatrist appointment this afternoon. Now.
Thank you. That's what this podcast is supposed to take care of, isn't it? Isn't that the whole point? Well, let's take a minute to thank our sponsors. Lonnie, who are our sponsors today?
Well, first off, I think we've got that wonderful crew over at Chicago Title.
Wow, are we doing this backwards?
Yeah, let's do it opposite.
Okay, you do the Chicago Title commercial.
So, Chicago Title, for all your title and escrow needs in Lake Havasu and Mojave County. contact Chicago Title and all the wonderful escrow girls they have over there. Of course, you're not an escrow girl. You're just you're just the dude.
I'm just the eye candy here.
The eye candy.
And we'd like to thank our other sponsor, the Lonnie Stevenson Mortgage Team, powered by High Tech Mortgage. Your lending needs, this is where you're going to have to go because you need to see Lonnie, because Lonnie is great. He's got a great big long beard. So if you're into Duck Dynasty and you like that kind of look going,
oh man,
that's the guy you should see. He'll take good care of you, and then once you get your loan, you can come on over and see the good folks at Chicago Title. See, I got us in there twice.
Did you really go to the beard card?
Well, they can't see you, so I could be lying.
Oh my God.
Maybe you don't have a beard. Are you going to shave that off?
10 more pounds. I got to lose, actually 12 more pounds.
Well, if you cut that beard off, that'll be 4 of it right there.
No. No. That's my incentive for my wife to make a healthy meal instead of an unhealthy meal.
Perfect. All right. Well, we're going to talk with Mr. Dean Baker here. I think I hear him coming in right now.
Awesome. There's Dean.
Here he is.
Come on in, Dean.
Come on in, Dean. All right. We're here with my good buddy, Dean Baker.
He's
Dean,
my friend, too.
Well, I think he likes me better than you.
Why does he like you better?
Well, because I'm better looking.
I'm not going to touch that.
So let's start again. We're here with Dean Baker. Dean Baker is
Our good friend.
Our good friend, Dean Baker.
Hello, guys.
How are you doing, Dean?
Good, great.
Dean is with Lake Havasu City Properties. He's the owner and the broker, but he's here today to talk about his other more, is it all right to say more fun business?
Yeah, my passion.
His passion, which is, what's the name of your company, your balloon company?
It's Lake Havasu Hot Air Balloons.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And Dean's going to talk a little bit about hot air ballooning and what that means to him and how fun that is and what he does to with his customers and
what's available.
Yeah. Well, I started ballooning about 3, maybe 4 years ago. And I actually got into ballooning from our local balloon festival. I was down there, and being a pilot for 18 years or so at the time, I just really thought it would be a cool thing to do, and it's really a fantastic experience. It's not like a normal plane flight where you have the noise and the vibration. It's just a real Zen-like feeling. You're quiet, it's peaceful, you're moving with the wind, so there's no wind in your face. It's just a feeling unlike any other type of flying that I've done.
So you got into this after the very first Havasu Balloon Fest?
Yep, after the very first Havasu Balloon Fest. I was actually I started to do it, but to get licensed in town, there was no place to get licensed because you have to have a federal FAA license like a pilot would for an aircraft. Balloon is actually considered an aircraft.
Oh, really?
So you have to have your FAA license.
so. But it's obviously a separate license.
It's a separate license for hot air ballooning. Yep. And I actually waited about a year or so, and then I found an instructor in Temecula, California. They give a lot of balloon rides there at the wineries, and was able to hook up with him and got my private license. And then I went on to Phoenix through another great instructor in Phoenix and got my commercial license where I could take passengers for hire. You're not allowed to unless you have a commercial license.
So your first step is just to get a license to be able to go up at all.
Yeah, it's a private license where it allows you to carry passengers, not for hire. It's a private license. And then the next step is your commercial license, which also in ballooning, it's interesting. When you get your commercial license, you also become an instructor. So you can become a balloon instructor and help others start ballooning.
Are you to that point?
Yes, I'm a commercial and an instructor. There's not very many balloonists in the world. There's maybe 7,000 people that do ballooning, so it's a pretty tight-knit group.
Right. Well, we've been down to the Balloon Festival. It's my favorite event that we have here in Havasu. And last month when they had it, we were down there, and I was talking to one of the pilots. And I guess a lot of people don't realize that there's absolutely you can't really steer a hot air balloon. There's no rudder. There's no engine. There's no.
No, it's all based on the winds, and And as a balloon pilot, you're really busy. It doesn't seem like you'd be doing too much, but you're dealing with the customers or the passengers and their questions. You're looking at the winds, and if you go up to like 1,000 feet, you might go west. You go up to 1,500 feet, you might go northeast. So you're always looking at you're remembering where you were and what direction you went, so that you can try to steer the balloon. And on some days, you can actually have steerage where you can come back to where you took off. It's rare, but it's possible to do that.
So you control everything based upon the
different winds. It might be totally calm on the ground, but there's always winds, usually up and higher altitudes. And I'll go up to 1,000 feet, let's say, and it'll be going west. I'll drop down and I'll go northwest. So that's how you steer the balloon. So you always have that in your mind with those different wind levels.
Well, that's really cool. I remember asking the guy, well, why don't they just put like a fan or something? That
yeah.
He said that would be called a dirigible.
That would be a dirigible. But it's just like I had no other experience that I've ever had in flying.
So you got the bug for doing this. It took you how long to get your license?
Well, it took a couple weeks. I hit it pretty hard. I already had a pilot's license, but with ballooning, it's pretty. If you can fly it in 10 hours, you can actually. You have three things you got to do. You have to take a written test. You have to take an oral test with the FAA examiner, and then you have to take the FAA examiner for an actual flight, and he'll see how you do and ask you questions. And you can do that in 10 hours of instruction. If you can manage it by that time, that's all. That's the minimum. Commercial license requires 30 hours minimum to be able to do it. So.
And then you just got a new balloon.
Yes, just got a new balloon. I sold my previous balloon to. It went to Taiwan. They were doing tethered balloon flights in Taiwan, and I sold it. And I missed flying balloons, so I just bought another balloon and designed it with our colors. And I had a design contest in the city, and some kids and some adults sent in their designs, and we went with the design. And then I put some extra safety features on it that I wanted.
And at the Balloon Fest, I noticed that a lot of the balloons had names for them. Have you named your balloon?
Yeah, mine's after my daughter, Hannah. Mine's Miss Hannah. So our old balloon was party favor, but Hannah was really interested in the new balloon and liked the colors, so we just named it Miss Hannah.
So that's pretty cool. Well, where do you take off from? I mean, are there any laws that you can take off from anywhere, land anywhere in the city? There's no restrictions on that, or?
Well, the restrictions is you want to be 1,000 feet above a populated area. That's the FAA rules. So taking off, of course, you can't. But as you go up, you want to try to stay at least that altitude, and then as landing, you come down as low as you can to
and
land
you can land
safely.
anywhere in the city. You can.
So far, the city's been really. Just been working great with us.
That's
so
awesome.
With the balloon festival, I think it's easier, and everybody that when we land in the city on the city street, we give out balloon pins and cards to all the kids and have everybody come up and try to make it a real friendly event that comes down in their neighborhood. So
yeah, the collectible cards. I did not know you guys did that in
yes.
the last Balloon Fest, because of course I have a 3-year-old.
Right. They
started collecting those. That's a really neat thing. If you take your kids out to the Balloon Fest next year, you go to each one of the balloons, and everybody has basically a little trading card that they hand out, and the kids just love that. So that's the same type of thing.
There's only 2 pilots in town that do commercial rides, myself and Gary Moore. So we're really really respectful of the citizens in the city because we want to continue.
And Gary is the balloon with the peace symbol, the
yes,
black balloon.
Yes, the black balloon with a Pink Floyd. And
how far do you typically fly when you take people out?
It depends on the day. Usually we'll be going 2 to 3 miles an hour. So, normally in an hour flight, maybe 10 miles. That's about all. Unless you go way high up to altitude, you can get the higher winds and go further. Yeah.
And you've turned this passion into a side business now, where you're doing rides quite a bit.
I've been really busy with this winter visitor season. There's a lot of people in town, and and the Balloon Fest has also helped. We give rides on besides doing real estate business. So.
Can you do it in the summertime here?
Not really. It's really uncomfortable. It's pretty hot. You can go in the morning real early, but it's not real comfortable. It's just it's not the best time to go.
So if somebody wants to go for a balloon ride, what do they need to do?
Just call us, and what we normally do is we'll check the winds. It's all based on the winds. We don't have any really inclement weather here, so we'll schedule you. And then when a day comes up where it's looking real good, we'll try to call you a day before and get it scheduled and go out. And then sometimes we'll go out and it's a little too windy and we can't safely go, so we'll have to cancel. But that doesn't happen too often. The forecasts are pretty good. So
what's the most amount of people you can take up with you?
4 plus me, so there's a total of 5 in the basket. My balloon is one of the biggest sport balloons. It's 105,000 cubic feet inside the envelope. So basically means you can put 105,000 basketballs inside the nylon envelope. So that's how big it is.
That's crazy.
It was cool at the Balloon Fest. They had actually on display, they had one of the balloons on the ground sideways where the kids could go in and interact, and they had beach balls and different things in there.
Yep.
Really get an idea just how huge these things are.
It's huge.
And that was just an average size balloon. Now some of these bigger specialty balloons are just...
Yeah, there's balloons, I believe, that take up to 30 people at one time, and they're 400,000 cubic feet.
What was the biggest balloon that was at the Balloon Fest? Do you know? The Wells Fargo one.
Yeah, Wells Fargo was. I don't know sure what the cubic foot on that, but it was huge. Yeah,
that was a neat balloon.
I think they had a crew of almost 10 people there keeping that one under control.
Yes, they did. The crew is a main aspect of ballooning. Is your crew is unpacking it. It's pretty heavy. Packing it away, chasing us. We have to have a chase crew that comes and follows us.
So how do they follow you? How do they know where you are?
Well, we have radios, but they'll watch us, and that's one other job the pilot's doing is trying to steer the balloon or land in a place where the crew can get to you. If you get out in the desert too far, you can't get your crew. So you're always mindful that the crews, we got to pack this thing up so where we land.
So have you ever got yourself in a situation where you had to land somewhere where it was really hard for the crew to get to you?
Yeah, I actually landed on the other side of the lake on the California side a few years back, and I was out there for 13 hours, and my wife got stuck in the chase truck, and it was a mess. We had to I saw some helicopters flying around that were military helicopters, and I lost my wife, and then she could call me on the radio, but I wasn't sure where she was at. She was stuck, panicked. So I saw these military helicopters. I used my aircraft radio, and I called them up, and I asked them for assistance. That we were a balloon that went down on the other side of the lake, and they come back, oh, yeah, this is Colonel so-and-so. We'd be glad to help you now. So they take these 2 Cobra helicopters, come flying over the desert, found my wife. They popped up over a hill, and my wife's like, I can't believe this. They're just both pointed at her. And so we were communicating back and forth on the radios, but long story short, they actually guided my wife up to where I was with the helicopters, and then it was really cool. And the colonel texted me about 11 o'clock that night just to make sure I got home okay. So
how cool is that?
And we got the military to help us out.
Did you charge double for that?
Yeah, I charged double for that.
So you had passengers with you? Or
no, it was just my son and I. We were raising money for Haven.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we raised $4,000 for Haven. We went up to 10,000 feet over the city.
Tell people what Haven is that don't
well, know. Haven's we raised the $4,000 for Haven. They help kids, and they had a backpack program. It was for the children that didn't have food to eat over the weekends, and so we raised the $4,000 to give them food to make it through the weekends. So there was like 170 children at the time that were on that backpack program. So
well, that's pretty awesome. When you typically go up, how high do you go?
Oh, with passengers, maybe 2,000-3,000 feet at the most. That's about all. So that gives you a pretty good view.
I had a friend of mine went up with you on Valentine's Day, and he was telling me John Watson.
Yeah, John had a great time.
He said he had him and his wife just had an absolute blast, and there were hors d'oeuvres and you did champagne. What's the history of the champagne?
Well,
why do you do champagne at the end of a balloon ride?
After our flight, after we're done packing up, we have a little tailgate party, and we have champagne and hors d'oeuvres. And the champagne in ballooning it started out in the 1700s in France. When you landed in a farmer's field, you'd present him with a bottle of the best champagne. And back then, if you had the champagne, you were a noble person and very respectful, and you'd give them the champagne as a thank you for landing in your field. So that's how the tradition of having champagne and ballooning.
So, of course,
came
you
about.
give everybody a bottle of Crystal with the Cristal at the
Yes,
end.
right, that's right.
Just making sure.
With the good silverware.
Yeah, so it's a sport where you can drink before 10 in the morning. So
That sounds like a great sport. Well, that's pretty awesome. We've learned a lot of stuff about balloons today. Again, contact you. You have a website?
Yeah, we have a website. It's www.havasuhotair.com. And we're also on Facebook if you type in Lake Havasu City Hot Air Balloons. So
Awesome.
and you
Phone
can find
number?
us.
You have a phone number?
Phone number is 928-486-3368. And just give us a call. We'll add to your bucket list.
My kids are wanting to do a hot air balloon birthday party now after the hot air balloon. It's like we're running out of ideas for themed parties here in Havasu, and they're like, let's get the dean and let's do a hot air balloon.
That's another
party.
thing. We can come to your party and tether, a wedding or a birthday. We'll come to the party and tether for an hour or so and give as many rides as we possibly can.
Great.
So.
I told them, no, Dean doesn't do that.
No, we do that.
Hopefully they don't listen to your podcast.
No, a lot of the fun is seeing the passengers, their expressions, and how much they really enjoy this. So it's
And young and old, it doesn't really...
young and old. We had a lady last week we put in with multiple sclerosis. I was able to get her in with a ladder, and they strapped a stool in so that she could sit. She had a hard time standing, and we took her for a ride, and it was on her bucket list and something she really wanted to do. So.
What's the oldest person you've taken so far?
Oh, in their 80s, about 87. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But we try to make special arrangements for things like that because it is so special. So
That's awesome.
Any other balloon fests that you're going to?
yeah, we're already scheduled to go to Albuquerque in the first week of October. It's fantastic. There's 1 million people there, and there's about 800 hot air balloons. It's an event. If you like balloons, that's the Mecca. It's unbelievable. The sky is just filled with balloons.
If you've been to this one here, and I think we talked about this on our first podcast, because our first one was right after the Balloon Fest, and I think we had 75 balloons.
75 balloons.
So if you think that was amazing, picture 10 times that in Albuquerque.
10 times that.
So that would be a pretty cool event to go to.
Special shapes, and it's unbelievable.
Besides Albuquerque, is there any other in Arizona? Any other balloon fests?
Yep, there's one coming up in Prescott. I think it's in June that we're going to try to go to. It's a smaller event, but it'll be real nice to get up there in June. But there's balloon fest all over the country and all over the world that go on all the time. So,
Great. Well, we appreciate you coming in and talking about your balloon business, and this is a great gift for people if you want to do gifts. This is a great thing to give away, great thing for locals in town. I mean, you can see Havasu in a way you've never seen before. Great for people from out of town. You're looking for something special to do with them. There's all kinds of different ways you can use this. You also do in Parker as well.
Yeah.
So there's some change up you can do.
we do Parker as well, and Parker is absolutely beautiful because you've got all the farm and the green fields, and you got the desert mountains and rocks coming down and meeting the farm fields and the river. So a lot of times the wind isn't so cooperative here in Havasu, but you go down to Parker and it's perfect. So a lot of times we can't fly in the city, so we can do it in Parker. And it's just
We should hire him to fly us over the Grand Canyon.
Let's do it.
Yeah, there's some restrictions on that, but I think you have to go to 10,000 feet. But that's okay. I have my oxygen now. So.
Well, thanks for your time, Dean.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you for having
Hopefully
me.
we'll have you back again.
Yep, like to talk about balloons.
Awesome.
Full of hot air.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay. Bye.